Hello and welcome. In 2021, Pierce Brosnan put his Malibu home up for sale, and at the time, he was asking $100 million for it. So instead of thinking about that home, we thought, what if we look for $2 million homes in all 50 states? And this is the last state, New York, and I was not disappointed. There's so much to the state. The West is completely different from Manhattan, and then there's the mountains to the north, and there's just so many different geographic regions and so much to look at. It did not disappoint at all. You could do whole videos on Manhattan itself. We found that really $2 million doesn't get you a whole lot in the city. So instead of a $2 million 900 square foot home studio, which we found, we did another video, which we'll put a link to, of homes that you could commute into the city, so that were nearby, near a train station. And this video is about up to $2 million homes that just show the different variety for that price point, and hopefully something different. They're not. There's a ton of I like to call McMansions. It's not so bad in New York. There's nothing wrong with these. They're fabulous homes that anybody would love to live in. They're kind of like the silver Mercedes of homes. It's like there's nothing wrong with a silver Mercedes. They're excellent cars and wonderful luxury items, but they're just kind of boring. It's what you pick when you don't have any idea of what else you can do with your money. But here we go. So let's look at different homes from around the country. So first off, if you just want to get away from it all and you just need some privacy, and maybe your own island. So this is up north. Okay, it's about 5.5 hours from New York City. It's about 2 from Montreal. But it is just a home getaway that does not have a road to it. You have to take a boat to get over to it. So if you want your privacy, if you want your social distancing, there you go. So this home, it has these covered boat docks, which is nice for all the weather. But it's you're gonna look at it's. So 1.6 million, you still have money to buy boats and such, but the interior is just kind of, pretty plain. It's not what you expect from a $2 million home, and that's kind of the deal on these. Sometimes the furnishings will be very fancy, like this kitchen may not have ever been redone, but this is all about location. So if you want a peaceful area to truly get away from it all, New York for sure had that. And I think it had also an extra, had an extra like little cabin too. So it could be your family getaway fishing trip village. Next up, so this one is in Rochester, New York, which is way up here. And this kind of looked like Xavier School for Gifted Children. It is so good that they used caps because it is that important, from 1913, and it just kind of cracks me up when they go all caps. But it does. It just looks like something out of the X-Men. And the interior is pretty nice. They said it could be used for luxury condos, but I think splitting this up would kind of ruin everything a little bit. I mean, it almost looks like an East Coast college or something, but the rooms are very stately. I think it's always weird on these homes when they're not presented fully to get the real feel of what to do in some of these rooms. But and these older homes, of course, are more compartmentalized, not as open as the modern aesthetic would want you to have. But it seemed pretty nicely furnished. What kind of cracked me up was this little guy down here. Where does that go down to? Like, what are you doing down there? I want to know. Anyway, moving on. So that was fun. This house, which is up here by Syracuse, New York, So 9,000 square feet, I think, was on 4.5 acres, and it was built in 1874. So it's been around for a while, and it was just had an interesting design. Now I kind of wish they'd put the old aesthetic on the new additions because it added something. The interior, they kind of kept it better, but they didn't do a great job of jumping in and maintaining the aesthetic. So it just, the interior was I like it when they go a direction. You know, I may not always like the design, but I like it when they go for it, and it's not just plain white walls with no molding or no beams or anything. So this really kind of in an odd way appealed to me. Not every room. Sometimes you see these older houses with all the wallpaper or whatever, you just want to rip it all out, and you're like, but this actually I didn't think was that bad. It's just a very interesting little pantry, you know, just total old school. They did update the kitchen, so it did an all right job, and it has a little bit of a flow, so which is probably the new section. So, you know, a nice sunroom, and it actually looks like they used the fireplace, actually wood burning fireplace that they used. So, just overall, another great sitting room. It just had a lot of life in this house. That, you know, you could say a lot of things, but you're not going to be bored looking at the different areas of this home. And they have kind of a, they block it off because it's kind of the Sistine Chapel, God touching man. The man is from the Sistine Chapel, but I don't think he's pointing out to God. I think it's something else to kind of cover that up. And we'll see it elsewhere here. Big fancy bedroom room, but see, it's like maybe it's God. I can't quite tell. They're kind of, so it was very interesting, and it's weird that like this is the room to get all made up, but it's like the plainest room. You would think that the makeup room would be more ornate, but it's really plain. It's kind of a little bit shocking compared to the other ones. Like the other ones, every wall, every nook has some stuff going on and different patterns, but the makeup room for some reason did not. See, now this looks like your modern room, even though they did add a splash of color. So even on the plainest, most bare down room, they added some elements. So it was a great property. So this is in Beacon, New York, and do yourself a favor, if you ever get a chance to visit Beacon, please do. It's about an hour up the Hudson. It's on the east side of the Hudson, across from Newburgh, and they have there's a outstanding modern art museum called Dia, and there's also, you can climb Mount Beacon, which is also a lot of fun. It's across the river is Washington. President Washington, then General Washington, had his headquarters there for a little bit in Newburgh, and that's very historical. But one of my favorite places over here too is Storm King Park. So there's just a lot to do, and the town of Beacon is very artsy and wonderful. If you ever get a chance, please go visit. Anyway, but so this house is just near the Hudson, and again, it does a good job of it's more light and airy, and they kind of had much more restraint in the design. So I think this one probably appeals to more people, and it has a ping pong table, so of course it's in the list. It's kind of my arcing joke. If it has a ping pong table, it gets in the list. It just I don't know. So this is kind of almost going to a little bit too plain. That's kind of what I'm talking about. But I do like the flooring throughout a lot. I kind of prefer more Interior design elements. But what a nice view! That's the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. So yeah, so it's a great view with lots of land to get around. So again, if you ever get a chance, visit Beacon. Seriously, it's really cool. Moving on. This one I kept going back to it, and it's located up here. It's on a little lake, and it's yeah, and so it's like an hour from on very good traffic, an hour from Manhattan, and also an hour from New Haven, Connecticut, and I think 3 to Boston. So it had a really good location, and it had this fun lake to play on, and the views. Yeah, I just kept going back to this because this is one of the, even though it was built in '86, they definitely kept it up to date and updated it, and I like the aesthetic of it. And they have a really, you got to cross a road, but it's not too busy of a road. But then you have this dock down here, and it's just a really good quality, solid dock that's just not going to wash away, and that goes along with the house. But it's just the views of it, and I just even love this couch. What a great place to sit and talk and hang out and just look across everything. But you have, of course, very open up high, that you have, the eating and the kitchen and a modern kitchen. I like to cook, and so just to have this view while you're cooking would be a great thing. You can look back and be a part of everything, so you're not just trapped in the kitchen by yourself. And the guests, once you're done eating, you just go to this great couch and great view, and then you got a patio where you can go out and look at everything too. And okay, this is probably good, but that would be the only downside, is there would be so much light it'd be hard to watch TV. But but it's just, that's a wonderful, even your bath has skylights. So a nice update of an 80s house, which they don't always get right, but on this time they did a great job. Yeah, be a little workout area and another hangout area. Just wonderful fun house. This one is located in Rochester, up north. If you like lake effect snow, you'll love Rochester. No, so this one has 37 acres. So again, if you need to get away, it's built in '82, and they said like $12 million worth of materials. So this is an example of people that just had a vision and they went for it. And oh wow, that's cool. So the only kind of knock I would say is they almost needed to pick a lane, because you kind of jump from the light exposed beams area and then they jump into, okay, we'll have stone and darker beams, and then we'll have your executive dining room, and then we'll have a barn too. Why not? So they kind of just went all over the place. I mean, this would be great for entertaining. They have your cooking services and everything, so you could have a wonderful big party in here. And I always seek that in these homes I found. And then they have a bit of a almost a log cabin look, and then they jump straight from that. So you go straight from this log cabin deal to fancy marble. It's So this is one of the fanciest bath setups I've seen. I love me some marble, but it's a bit of a jump, and it'd probably be cold walking up to your bathtub. Maybe it's heated, I don't know. So I don't know. It's just got all this open area, and that it's got, wow, this looks like a professional workout room. And then you have, I don't know, I do like the outside stonework, and they bring some of it into the house, They could probably use a little bit more. But like I said, it's almost like they just need to pick a lane and go with it. It's like, what style do you want? I want all the styles. But I think that's a kid's dollhouse, and it has like this industrial whatever this is. They didn't really go into that. So there you go. So a funky getaway in Rochester. This house was up in Lake Placid, New York. So again, it was about 5-6 hours from New York City and about 2 from Montreal. So great skiing around here, of course, because they held the Winter Olympics there. And it's just the way, especially whoever took these pictures did such a good job. Because the home, it was built in 51, and it's on just over 9 acres. And it's just, with it, everything, the mountains, this all looks like impressionist paintings. You could just easily just start painting that, and it'd be a great painting. And the day or night views were all like this. They have a pool, which is extremely optimistic that far north in New York, but I love it. If it was warm enough, what great views to have. The interior is, your windows are looking out from that. Again, it's like another impressionist painting. And so otherwise, not too big or open. It's got this, it's got a pool table, but a wonderful, peaceful getaway. And if you love skiing, would be outstanding. Next up, this is located in kind of south central, I guess you'd call it, and it is 45 minutes away from Letchworth State Park. And if you get nothing else from this whole series, forget the rest of the videos, go to Letchworth State Park in New York. And they call it the Grand Canyon of the East, and you think that's kind of a hokey thing, and it's not the Grand Canyon, okay, but it's pretty cool. There's a lot to do, and it just has, even these pictures can't do it justice. I'm like, serious, if you're anywhere close to Letchworth, visit it. It is pretty damn spectacular. And if you're there, they just give you a partner and you get to kiss. It's wonderful. But anyway, so the property itself, it's just fabulous, because if you really want, it's just like our land getaway. We've had some other getaways, but this is 168 acres, and it's only 1.75 million, only, quote, quote. It was built in 93, but it's got a farmhouse, and sometimes when you get these big lands, they're just flat and farmland. This has some that can be used for that, but it's got these wonderful rolling acres, and it's got a separate barn, and then separate sheds, and creeks running through it, and the hills are rolling, so it's very interesting land on top of everything. So let's kind of show you, it's all of that right there. So it's almost like a set out of Lord of the Rings or something. It's just wonderful. You have your flat lands, your rolling lands, your trees. You could have your own hiking snowmobile, four-wheeling trail in your own property, and you could even snow ski around. So it's just one of these wonderful properties that you can do so much with. And it's even got a little guest house with its own separate little pond that you could have guests or relatives or whoever staying there. And so it was just such a welcoming property to stay at. The house itself is not too fancy, but again, just to have all this fun area to play on, and it's close to Letchworth, and also these the Fingers Lakes are just really beautiful over here, and it's not too far from them. So this property was just so cool. Moving on. I'm just rambling because I really like there's so many more houses I didn't pick that I could have went with. So in addition to big land and property and privacy and old style homes, it also has beachfront property. So there was opportunities out in Long Island for beach homes. Not too many. To get really, really on the sand, directly on the sand, was out of the $2 million price range. And there was a ton of homes I could have done a special just on Long Island. But I guess kind of what I didn't like about Long Island is for $2 million, you're not on the sand and you're not really close to the city because of traffic and everything. The further out you get, it just gets harder and harder to get into the city. This I really like because it is close to Robert Moses State Park, which is just a great place to see the ocean, and it's much quieter than Jones Beach, and it's a little harder to get to, but then there's fewer people, so it was a great place. It's the first place my kids saw the ocean, so a very nice clean beach. And over here you're getting over to Fire Island, which we didn't go up there, but I think would be a great location. So and this is kind of different because usually you get the Florida beach homes and they're all almost vinyl and the bare minimum, and this I do like the wood cladding on things. 72, so you have to have wood paneling because it's the 70s, but it's I think kind of nice, and they kind of still updated it, and it's got your open concept, so for sure. So it's a great place that everybody can kind of be together, and it's kind of ahead of its time. It's got all these windows, so you're getting all that light in there. It's got a pool too, and if you don't want to go all the way over to the beach, it's a little bit of a walk, but not bad at all. And so it also has a view from the top where you can see the ocean. So you can see there it's not too far at all. So that's a great getaway. The only thing I didn't like that it is hard to get into the city. So if you want the beach life, this would be more for you. But if you wanted to still be able to easily get back into the city, this would not be your best bet. Moving on, as I continue to ramble, this home is located up here. So it is just north and east of White Plains, and on a very good traffic day, it could be like an hour into the city, and then again, it's not too far from New Haven. So you can go up to there, and I think it's 3 hours from Boston as well. So you're kind of close to many options. And you're not too far from Beacon either. So go visit Beacon. Do it. So this home, and it kind of had a story too. So it was built originally in 1750. It was a barn and tavern that got integrated into a private residence, which I just love the story of that for some reason. It's got a 3.3 acre estate, but it adjoins a nature preserve. And it has a 7.5 mile hiking trail. So you can have all this land without paying for all that land, which is a very good thing. So I think, yeah. So if we look at it, there's your lot lines, and that butts right up into the trail here. So, so you have this whole big nature preserve that you can go hiking around, and it connects over to this wilderness walk too. So you can be close to a big city, not too far from even Boston, but still have plenty of nature, and you don't have a bunch of neighbors right next on top of you, but you still have your own property. So, but the property itself, it's got a great pool and a hot tub. So that's kind of a nice thing. So that's a picture of like your property and then the preserve. So you're surrounded by nature. The interior, it is, it was built in 17 whatever. So there's some. It it has some vaulting, which is kind of surprising for the age of it. Like this room, I think could be utilized a little different. It's kind of a big area just for a dining room, but you do have your kitchen, which points into the dining room. So if that's the way the dinner's going, then you can still feel connected to everybody. As a little mini wine cellar. Just and I did like this reading room with the skylights. Was also a nice touch. But I do like the exposed beams in it. It just keeps the history of the place going. The kids' room. So overall, the interior is not the fanciest, but I just like the land of it and the opportunities of it. Would be a great place to have friends and family over. So, you've heard me ramble for a long, long time, so I hope you enjoyed it. This is the low-tech worst video of all YouTube. But I ramble like forever because I just really enjoyed New York, and the whole series has been fun. I'm going to do a wrap-up video of just to show what overall you can get instead of buying a $100 million home, just adding everything up. So take care and have a good day or night.